Just a short update on the running boards. I just realized that pan hangs down. I don't even know what that is. I went to get the motor moved from the rear to the front because that's the fix. And the shop found that whatever the box was here that it was hitting could actually just be moved up a little. So they moved it up to the next bracket and now it doesn't hit. And you can actually step on it and it doesn't make noise. So, perfect. I touched on this topic briefly in a previous video, and I wanted to go into more detail to kind of give you guys an idea of what I've been dealing with as far as Ford goes and what really ticks me off about this truck. You know, there have been a couple of little problems here and there, and I've been able to get them fixed, and I'm decently happy with the fact that I've been able to get. I just noticed that my battery's at 88%, and I haven't driven all day. I just unplugged it like 2 hours ago, so tell me how that happened. I mean, I charge it to 90. There's basically no phantom drain with Ford, which is really good, but somehow it's at 88. So we did phantom drain 2%. Anyway, there have been a few issues. The running boards were an issue, and I was able to get that fixed, and I was super happy about that. That's probably actually the clip before this one in the same video, because there's no point in making it its own video. But every car tends to have some sort of problem, and as long as I can get them resolved, I'm good. You know, like as long as it can get fixed, I'm good. But so far, I have been unsuccessful at getting this fixed, and it's really starting to tick me off. When I bought the truck, they basically didn't do any kind of setup with the app. They just said, here's the VIN, go in your app and add it. I'm like, okay, I can do that. That seems easy enough. Added it, activated it. Everything seemed to be good, so I thought, all good. I was able to unlock the truck with my phone just as a test, and it worked. So, all good. So, thought we were good to go. Ford has what they call the Blue Oval Charge Network, and it's just something that is built into your app that when you set it up, you can set up like plug and charge. So you take the truck to Electrify America, you plug it in, it recognizes who you are, knows that your card is on file, and just starts charging. There's no, processing, there's no swipe your card, none of that. It just works. Yes, it is more expensive that way than if you have an EA membership and use your phone to activate the charger. But, so there'd be really no point in actually using it. But the reason that I want to set it up is because Ford is supposed to get access to Tesla superchargers this month. And, obviously I want to be able to use that. I want to be able to test it. Ford said that they would send out free adapters to all current owners. You have to set up the Blue Oval Charge Network to use that. So I've been trying for 2 months now to set up the Blue Oval Charge Network on this truck. And when you click Blue Oval Charge Network in the app, it sends you to Connected Services, because apparently that is housed in the Connected Services area. And that part of the app just completely errors out. It will not work. It just says, oops, there was a problem processing your data. Or whatever. I don't know the exact error. It was something like that. And then that's it. It won't do anything further. So the most logical explanation to this is to call Ford, right? I tried to call the Connected Services. I tried to call, there's different numbers for different departments. So usually I start with the Ford Pass or Connected Services, because those are the two things. Like it's in the Ford Pass app, but it's technically Connected Services. So which one does which? Who knows? The first attempt to get this fixed, I called and I spent 2 hours on the phone. I don't know how many times I was transferred. I didn't keep track. We were not able to get it fixed. There was no resolution whatsoever. It was just a matter of, yeah, well, hopefully you figure it out. I don't know. They didn't say that, but it was a complete guess. Nobody knew what they were doing. And by the time I was 2 hours in the phone call, I was just like, yeah, look, I ain't got time for this. I'll just call back another day when I have more time, because this isn't going to work. Like, I can't sit here. In that particular phone call, they had me reset the truck 7 times. I mean, if it didn't work the first time, insanity, still didn't work. So I gave up on it. I let it set for about a month. I just didn't mess with it. And finally, they made that announcement saying that, Ford is going to send out the adapters to eligible EV owners, which that makes you wonder what eligible means, but that's a different story. So I decided to call back and see, is this something we can get set up? And in that particular phone call, I was transferred 8 times. I counted. On the 8th transfer, they concluded that there must be an error above their system and that it needed to be escalated to the engineers to look at it. Okay, yeah, whatever. They said they would make a ticket, send it to the engineers, and they would call me back within 7 to 10 days from an 833 number. So just be looking out for that. I'm like, okay, that sounds good to me. Whatever. As long as it gets fixed, I'm patient. I get that call today, and it's the same people I was talking to last week. The constant transferring of calls, the constant, we have no clue what we're doing. And it just really started to tick me off because, combined with the 8 times I was transferred last week when this was all going down, this is just annoying. This is not helpful at all. So I got the person who called, and she, obviously had no clue. She explained to me that there was a feature not active on the truck, and that was what was causing the issue, but she couldn't do it. She'd have to transfer. I was interrupted by a phone call. Anyway, she couldn't do it. She would have to transfer me over to some other department. I don't even remember what she said. I think she said it was the Ford Pass. I don't know. Maybe there's a Blue Oval Charge Network department. That's probably who it was. Anyway, that person, of course, couldn't do anything. Said that I needed connected services. Now, the last time I was transferred to connected services, they basically told me that this had nothing to do with connected services and that I had the wrong department. So I was like, this was real helpful. I knew this was going to go well. So they transfer me. I don't know where they transferred me to, because the person that answered said they are not in connected services and that I needed connected services. But before they could do that for me, knowing that I was transferred to the wrong place, already being handed off to everybody and their brother, they wanted to know my VIN, my phone number, my address, just confirm all this information that they're not going to hand to the next guy, which is exactly how that happened. Cold transfer, didn't do any kind of, hey, this is who you're talking to, here's his VIN, here's anything, Bob's your uncle, nothing. So I had to tell the next guy all this information again. I'm just getting pissed at this point. I'm like, you know what? If this guy can't help, I'm out of here. So, of course, this guy, oh, yeah, I'm with connected services, but I see nothing wrong. I bet you do. So he said he would escalate a case. And by the way, this is the 3rd time we've made a case that would get escalated to who knows who, and it never goes anywhere. But this time I was told 19 to 21 days for a response. So, cool. In 19 to 21 days, the Tesla Superchargers will be open to Ford, and I will not be using it because they still have no clue how to set this up. This is great. Honestly, stuff like this really pisses me off. There are some things that I've managed to iron out with this truck and make it the way I want it. These matrix headlights, I really enjoy how they work, and getting the running boards working and not making noises, and just everything that I'm getting set up the way I want it. I like it, but there's always got to be a problem, something wrong that ends up pissing me off. And that's where we're at. Connected services, and Ford can't figure it out. No one can figure it out. I tried to use Twitter or X to tweet at Ford directly to see, maybe someone there can figure it out. They told me to call the marketing department. And I'm like, the marketing department? The company that runs your ads. That's who I need to call about my connected services not working. And just for the fun of it, I called them. And they had no clue what I was talking about. That's not them at all. Has nothing to do with them. They can't help me with that. You know, I always said when I had my Rivian that I hated having to drive all the way to Georgia to get service done to the truck. And I had to do it like 3 times in 1 year, and that pissed me off. And I was like, I don't like driving all the way to Georgia. It takes 8 or 9 hours of my day just for driving, not to mention, you know, whatever else I have to sit and wait on the truck. I hated that. And I always said, you know, if I could get the Ford Lightning, at least I could just take it to the nearest Ford dealer to get service done. I don't have to worry about it. It'll be fine. Well, that's not the case. The problem is no one knows anything what they're doing with Ford and electrics. The local dealers don't know how to work on them. They don't know how to fix these problems. They don't know what the problem is. So there's not a central location in Georgia that I can take this truck to get it fixed. It's just a constant battle of trying to find someone who knows enough about what they're doing to not break it. And we haven't found that person yet. So if I was not ordering a Super Duty, and if I was not expecting to get the Super Duty in the next few months, I would trade this truck on a Rivian. I would go back and buy an R1T, because I may have to drive it to Georgia for service, but at least they know what they're doing in Georgia. At least they know at the Rivian Service Center how to fix the truck. It's not a complete guess and an endless transfer of calls and chasing something that you'll never find. So that's where we're at, and that's why I'm annoyed at Ford. I'm going to try to just bear through this and not have fast charging on this truck, I guess. I don't plan on road tripping this truck. No way. It's so expensive. My math calculator that I made shows that this truck costs more than the Super Duty to run when fast charging. Fast charging costs more than it is to buy diesel at today's current Joe Biden price. To run this truck, it's way more expensive. So it's just not worth it. I don't plan on actually road tripping the truck. If I'm going somewhere, I'll probably take my Tesla just because he has free charging. I'll try to just use this truck on a daily basis and charge it at home, and, you know, keep it as cheap as possible until the Super Duty gets here. But if not for that Super Duty, Rivian, I would be trading this truck in tomorrow. I'd buy me another R1T, pretty much the same configuration I had, because I liked it. I had no problems with it. I mean, I had a few minor problems, but they were all fixable. And the biggest things that bothered me about my R1T was the damage that I had on it. And that's over, you know, like, it's gone. And I can get a new one with no damage. Speaking of damage, we might throw this into the end of the video here, depending on how I decide to edit it. But I've been in communication with the new owner, and it has more damage. And I'm beginning to wonder if this truck's cursed. Could be. I don't know. We might talk about that here in a second. I don't know. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging on the Rivian story, so I wanted to give you the details. So I sold it to the dealer when I traded it for the Lightning. And I told the dealer, you know, if you need any help with it, just give me a call. I'm glad to help, because I understand no one knows anything about Rivian or what they are, how to do anything about them. But anyway, so they text me probably about a week after I sold it to them, maybe 2 weeks after I sold it to them, and said that they had a buyer lined up. He was coming to look at it that day, and wanted to know if I could get the app access transferred over to him. And I'm just like, sure, yeah, send me his email address and I can get it started. Well, they send me the guy's email address, and off we go. Well, I submitted a request, but, you know, it takes several days, and I kind of expected it to take a while, so no big deal. Well, that night they called me back and said, the deal fell through. He's not going to buy it. So I'm assuming, as you know, when I took the Rivian in to trade it, the 12-volt battery light had came on, and I'm assuming the deal fell through because of that 12-volt battery. I did later find out that is why the deal fell through, and they had me schedule service for the truck to get that 12-volt battery replaced. And apparently after they replaced the battery, they called the same guy back and said, hey, you want to buy the truck now? It's fixed. So through giving the guy app access when he did actually buy the truck, I was able to just send him an email and say, hey, if you have any questions, feel free. I know a lot about it, obviously. Used to be mine, and I'll be glad to help because I'm into these electric cars. I like what they have to offer, and all that. So he actually made the initiative to add me on iMessage. I gave him my information, but I wasn't like, hey, give me your number or anything like that. If he wanted to message me, that was good on him, but whatever. So he added me on iMessage. And, he's asked a few questions. We've talked back and forth just a little about the truck. But there's more to this story than I knew originally. So he was about 5 to 6 hours away from the dealer. And he was looking for that particular color. And that's when he found it, he wanted it. He drove the, 6 hours there to go look at it. 12-volt battery issues, so he didn't want to risk driving it home 5 hours or 6 hours, whatever it was. So he left. And he said that on his way home, they called him 7 times trying to get him to turn around and come back and he can buy it. But once they got that 12-volt battery fixed, they called him back and asked him to come buy it, then. And he was interested, but he said, it's going to take 2 weeks for me to get up there. I've got a life. I've got other things going on. It'll take me 2 weeks minimum. Well, the dealer, being the dealer that they are, wanted to secure that sale. So they convinced him to do a DocuSign and buy it remotely. And he was trading in his Tesla Model X for the truck. So they made an offer and did the trade-in remotely. They basically just said, it would be their car from then on, but they would let him drive it for the next 2 weeks until he could come pick up the Rivian. So that's what they did. And that's where they screwed up. So first, let me say that they had looked at this Tesla when it was there previously, but they didn't really know a lot about it. And they had listed it as a Plaid in the paperwork. So that ended up netting him more money for it. He actually profited. He traded the Tesla Model X. They gave him a Rivian and $1,000 because they had it listed as a Plaid, but it wasn't a Plaid, and it really wasn't his responsibility to tell them that it wasn't a Plaid. I mean, they should know. They're a car dealer. But these pictures that you're looking at here are what happened in the interim, the 2 weeks in which he was driving the car before he went to pick up the Rivian. Hit something on the interstate, completely unexpected, damaged the bumper. I think he said that he had a quote from Tesla to replace the bumper, and they told him $1,500. So he filed a claim on his insurance, $1,500. When he took the car to go trade for the Rivian, he told the dealer what had happened and offered to give them the $1,500 to get it fixed. Obviously, they were all about that because, technically it was already their car. Technically, he didn't owe them a dime, but, they took it. So... and the car is currently not listed on the website. I thought, wow, they really sold it for that much, but no, actually, it's just not sold yet because it's in the shop for, repairs. So, that happened. That's a thing. And, accidents happen all the time, but, I had at one point made the comment that maybe my Rivian was cursed because, or not cursed, but bad luck. Because, it had all these damages on it from me. It got hail damage while I went to the West Coast. It got the damage on the tailgate from the garage door. And then right after I first got it, there was a dent in the front hood where a rock had hit it. So, I really don't like damage on my vehicles. It's a big thing for me. And this truck was just beat all to pieces in damage. Tesla Model X damage has nothing to do with the Rivian, but, just, I don't know. You kind of wonder. You kind of wonder at this point, because, I knock on wood, or, yeah, I've got some wood here. Knock on wood. I've not had any kind of major damages, to my vehicles. My mom's had some minor incidents with my Model Y, but That's her. Uh, but with that Rivian, I had more damage in it in 1 year than I've had on any of my cars. And it's just, wow. So, um, so I don't know if you call it bad luck or just something with the truck or whatever. But that brings me to the next topic. So about a week after the new owner bought the Rivian, he was hit in a parking lot, and it was a hit and run in the rear of the truck. Now, if you know anything about Rivian, the side panels in the rear are actually all one piece attached all the way up to the front. So it's the whole side of the car, just like the Model Y. Because when I was talking about damage on that one, it was a very expensive repair because they had to repair the whole piece, not just that one quarter panel. So that's the same deal here in Rivian. That whole rear quarter panel is actually one big piece. It goes all the way up into the front, into the structure. That's the way it is. So any kind of damage in that area right there is very, very expensive to fix. And I was like, oh man, that's going to suck. Especially it was a hit and run and they have no clue who did it or any information about them, whatever. But he did send me this picture to show me that he had actually pulled it out himself. Now, obviously, it's not perfect, but he said he just used the hot glue method where you stick it to the truck, heat it up, stick it up the truck, and then pull it off really quickly. And that pulled most of the dent out. And he said he would work on it some more and probably just be able to do it himself rather than paying a shop hundreds of thousands, maybe not that much, tens of thousands to fix it. Luckily, no paint was messed up, so it didn't need to be repainted. You just pull the dent out. So, somewhat happy ending, I guess. I had joked about maybe one day buying this truck back because it was my favorite truck, one of my favorite trucks. The other one's long gone, no clue where it's at. I mean, it left the state, and I have no way of finding it. Rivian was also a truck that I really enjoyed having, and I had talked about, what if in a few years I just went and bought it back from the guy, because he's like me, he changes cars a lot. We've had some conversations, and he's kind of in the same boat that I am. He'll try something, drive it for a little while, then he'll try to justify why he needs to get rid of it, and then he gets rid of it. I do the same thing all the time. So I just, I especially with the issues that I've had with the Lightning, as mentioned previously, I did think about, like, what if I just went back and got it? And the thing that stopped me from doing that was the damages on the truck, and now it's only further damaged. And I know even if he gets it fixed, I know it was damaged. I'm not interested in all that. So I don't think I see myself buying this truck back in any time in the future. But it is cool to still be able to follow the truck and know how things are turning out with it. But that's just a short update on the Rivian that I no longer own, to just kind of show you what it's been doing and going through. And, life happens. Nothing you can do about it. But yeah, just wanted to share that.